Welcome to this section, mixing in classes in JavaScript. So first, let's clear this out. Now, let's say we have these two classes like this, Toyota and car. Now, car just defines all the basic functionalities we have in a car. And we have this class, Toyota. Now, Toyota is used for a make of a car, Toyota. It defines all the functionalities there. Now, but also, we don't want to repeat everything a car has inside this Toyota class or in any other car we want to make. Like for example, we have Benz here, so we'll now recreate everything there. So no, we want them to extend from the base class car, so we don't have to implement everything from the scratch again. We just have to reuse the properties or the methods or the functionalities we have in a car from the class car. Now, but what if there's a new kind of brake that was discovered by Toyota and we want to use it? You see that we cannot now extend the brake again. We cannot extend that class brake. You see, we already have an error. Classes can only extend only a single class. That now becomes a problem. But now Toyota really needs this brake class. Now we might be thinking of, okay, that we just need to carry everything here and put into the class object, but it will make this Toyota class to be big, and it will be very hard to maintain and also to understand. We really need this class, the brake functionality, to be outside the class, yet to be extended by this Toyota class. Now this is where mixing and classes comes in. We will see how to mix in properties from classes, from a class into other class, just like we did with objects. So now, to do the mixing, there's no other way to do it in JavaScript than to write a custom function for it. So here we just write a function. Let's call it class mixing. Now it will take the same parameters like we have in the object.assign. First the target class, and then followed by from the source classes. Yeah, so like this. Now first we need to check if the sources, just like we did, if the sources class.length is 0, we just return the target class. So now further down, we look through the sources class, and each class is inside this next source. Now this is when the actual mixing comes in. Now how do we mix it? We will not do something like this. Or first we need to get the keys. Now the properties, how do we get the properties in a class? Now we need to learn something. Mind you that classes in JavaScript is just a syntactic sugar for constructor functions. So now this class, this Toyota class, is just something like this. Yeah, so during compilation and during debugging and the execution, these classes are converted to functions. And for example, now this class with the brake properties, their properties are inside a prototype object. Inside a prototype object like this. Like this. So whenever we define something like this, it translates to something like this. Like for example, let me say drive is here, go right is here. So everything will just be like this. Toyota.prototype.go right function. So everything is just like this. So this class is just the front for people coming from other languages like Java, so as they can, it gives the same feeling like we have in Java or how to create objects from classes. So using function like this is kind of like will be not you will not be too familiar with it. In the recent release of JavaScript, it came up with this class keyword so as to be able to use class instead of functions. Yeah, for clarity purposes or people that are quite familiar with the class keyword. But deep down, the class is all translates or compiles down to functions like this. All the properties defined inside it are inside the prototype object. Now, having this in mind, this is how we will now mix in properties from source classes into the target class. Now we need to get hold of this prototype object and mix it from the car into the Toyota, or from the brake into the Toyota. No, depending on from which other class, from which other any class that you are using. So now here we have to get the prototypes. So we do object dot get prototype names. So now in this case, we're not going to pass target, no, sorry, next source dot prototype. Now remember, this is a class. Remember, this is a class. So we can now get the prototype object, which is this. Now to give us the properties drive and go right, for example. So this prototypes now will now contain drive, an array of drive and go right here. Now we will now come here and look through it. Const prototype. So we'll now look through it. Now this is where the main mixing will now occur. So we will now assign it. We will now assign the prototype of this into the target class. So this is how we do it. Target class dot prototype. Now we now refer the prototype by key. Then I will now say next source dot prototype dot prototype. Then lastly, we now return the target class. So now let's test out our function. First, let's bring down all the classes down here like this. Then let's mix in brake into Toyota. So now let's add something like here brake, and we'll now write it will just return brake. Now we call our class mixin, pass our Toyota class, then we'll pass our brake class. Now let's create an object from the Toyota. Now we can now call Toyota dot brake. Now let's remove this extend class so that we know it called our that it called this brake from this brake class. Now we have to console log it. Now to console log it, then we now run our script node test. So you see it works. We're able to call the brake mixed in from the brake class. So you see how it works and how the mixins work. It's a very powerful way to add multiple inheritance into your code in JavaScript. Now let's say we have another class vehicle, and it has a very super secret functionality. Like for example, let's just call it secret just for test purposes. Then it returns secret. Now we need to let's mix in vehicle inside Toyota. We can also pass it here and also call the secret method inside it. It works. So you see how we can mix in properties from classes in JavaScript and they will work. So this is what we did here is just multiple inheritance. So this Toyota class inherits from multiple classes, brake and vehicle. So this is the end of our lesson. I hope you understood what mixins are, how good they are, and how also to use them. So I urge you to look into this our code that we wrote here, from this our class mixins, and also from our the mixins from objects, to understand how mixin works and what good it brings to us in JavaScript. So this is the end of our lesson.